So here we have Denise Vazquez. Okay, Denise, can you say a little bit about who you are and where you live?
Okay, my name is Denise Vazquez and I live in Coupé, Puerto Rico. And I work as an attorney for the Puerto Rico Courts Administration. I've been doing that job with the Puerto Rico courts for like 12 years now.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about, you've lived in Puerto Rico for a while,
Yes.
how Maria is different, how it's affected your life?
Okay, well, being from the Caribbean, um, it had been a long time since we were hit by a hurricane. And then in 1989, we were hit by Hugo. My parents, on the other hand, they had gone through hurricanes before, but there was a whole generation of people that had never gone through hurricanes. So I learned from my mom and my dad, especially my dad, how to prepare for a hurricane. And since then it was Hugo, and we've had a few more scares, and then the other one that hit was George in 1998, I think that was. And then now Maria. I've gone through, this is my third hurricane, and again, being in the Caribbean and having to go through hurricane season every year, you know people know what to do. I mean, at the beginning of the season, they hand out the maps and how to plot the trajectory of the phenomenon. And the thing with this hurricane, we know how to prepare for a hurricane. I mean, we really know how to prepare for a hurricane. I mean, you can see it coming off the coast of Africa and coming towards you, and then you can see, and again, we have the little maps, and you start plotting which way it might go, and so you prepare. You have days in advance to prepare. You buy your canned foods. You stack up on water, and stack up on drinking water, and stack up on other bins of water for when, because you know that the first thing that's going to go is the water. To get through those first weeks, we had batteries, we had our lanterns, we had our flashlights, we had everything you might need. We put up our storm shutters, and we locked down in the house, the whole yard. You're supposed to clean up everything outside just in case, you don't want anything turning into a projectile. So we did all that. We had the cars in the in the garage, you might say, and our pets stowed away. I mean, we were prepared. But you prepare for like 2 weeks after. And again, the thing about a hurricane is not preparing for it or buckling down inside your house and waiting for it to hit. The thing about a hurricane is the what comes el después, what comes after, the aftermath. And I don't think that anything could have prepared us for this. I mean, like I said, my family prepared. We thought we were prepared, and but it's been more than a month, and we still have no power. I still wash by hand, and I'm lucky my roof didn't blow away, but it has changed our lives. I mean, I don't think anything is going to be the same. I hope that nothing will be the same. I think this is a chance for us to do something differently in the future, because again, we get hit by hurricane season every single year. So if we're gonna go through this again next year, then we need to be better prepared.
What's been the hardest part?
The hardest part has been, and in this hurricane in particular, is no communication. I mean, I was trying to remember why was this time around. It's because everybody has a cell phone. It's just everything's on that little phone. I mean, you're everything. But because I remember with George, it's like I don't remember everything just falling apart this way. And it's because there were landlines. People that stuck to their landlines in the home, well, they were okay because they were able to communicate outside. But for those of us, for example, my family, that's all we have, our cell phones. Is like no communication, and no communication either. We only had the radio. so we could listen to the radio and what was going on as the storm was passing. Then suddenly there was nothing there, and then when we came back on, that's why sometimes it's been a month and a half, and I look at the images now. I'm learning now, like a month after, when things start to get better, when I find when we get a signal, and we are able to use our phones, and videos, people posting videos of what's going on, I was living there, and I had no way of knowing really what had gone on, what happened. It's hard. It's hard, yeah.
And how have things been affected for your work
well, like I said, I work for the Puerto Rico courts. In the area where I work, Bayamon has two main courthouses. There's the domestic relations courthouse, and then there's the courthouse for everything else. It's a 8-story building. They have like over 300 and something employees, and along with the judges that do their work there. And that building is destroyed. That building was complete. The first floor of that building, which is I don't know how you say that in English, but that's where people go to file their motions, is La Secretaría, the courthouse. And it was completely destroyed. It was flooded. I think one of the doors burst, and the whole area was flooded. And now they have to find a way of how to recreate those files that were destroyed. And then since it was flooded and it was closed for so long, so now there's a lot of mold, which makes it impossible for people to come into work. So I think OSHA came in and shut the building down. So now we're trying to fit those 300 and something employees plus the judges to get things more or less back to normal in the courthouse, because with criminal law you have constitutional limits. So you have to keep trying these people. And the thing is that these people are trying to fit, we're all trying to fit into this other building where I work, which is a 4-story building. So judges are taking turns using the courtroom. We have not begun complete work time. I mean, we started off as maybe once a week, opening half a day, and then we started half days, like from 1 to 4. Our usual hours are 8:30 to 5, 1 to 4, and we finally got the okay to start our work day at 8:30, beginning on October 30th. But then you have all those cases that are backlogged from September 19th all the way to October 31st when we're starting up again. So that will also take a while to get going. Yeah.
Have you seen any other changes in the government or law enforcement?
Well, the thing with the region that I work in, well, criminal activity has been on the rise, and for a moment there seemed like there was a truce. I mean, it's almost like when we're going through, I think, through the stages of the grieving process, because first of all, you get hit and you don't know what happened to you, and then slowly but surely you come back to your senses and say, okay, this is what happened, this is what I need to do, and you start reacting. And I guess that's what's happened also with the criminal activity around. In the beginning it's like, what hit us? And now it's on the rise. I mean, in Bayamon also, that region is very volatile. And so the other day there was, we call them the massacres, because there was like a drive-by shooting, and instead of hitting the target, they hit innocent people that were just going into a pizzeria to pick up a pizza. So it was a family. It was a family there, and I think they even hit a person who was working in the kitchen. I mean, so these people go off on their own and trying to rebuild and trying to do get things going, because we want so desperately for things to get back to a normal, more or less normal routine. Because I mean, the first few days, my husband and and my son waited 8 hours in a gas line to get gasoline. Oh, that's another thing. Both my cars had full tanks of gas. And with the things that you need from here to there to somewhere else, there was no more gas. So they had to spend like 8 hours in a gas line for gas. So we even prepared in that sense. We also took cash out.
Sure.
Yet we had to go back to the ATM machine, and my husband and I waited like 3 hours in line for an ATM machine to be functional.
Wow.
So and we had prepared for that as well, but it's just coming back to me. But anyway, we want really desperately to get back to more or less something normal. I want to be able to go back into my courtroom and say, okay, here to do my job, to help people out where I am, and it's been really just hard, very, very difficult. I don't, and the sad part is I don't see. Again, this is my third hurricane, and I remember that with Hugo, and I lived in the country at that time, and there were a lot of wood houses made of wood and zinc, I think you call them,
the zinc roofs.
The zinc roofs, and I remember like 3 days hadn't even gone by, and you'd see these houses covered with their blue tarps. I mean, everywhere you look, there were blue tarps. I haven't seen blue tarps. I know we're it's like at least that, you know, to be able to cover whatever little is left of your belongings.
Yeah.
So it has just been different.
Sure.
In that.
I think there's a bit of a shortage worldwide because of all of the hurricanes.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. Yes, it's been a hard year.
So what is the hope that you have for Puerto Rico? How can people from the mainland support Puerto Rico?
I think I may get a little emotional here. I think how can people support and help Puerto Rico? I think people can support and help Puerto Rico, letting people know that we really do need this help. I mean, a lot of people just want to go down there and be there but there's so many other ways to help. I mean, even if you're here in the States, I mean, you can call whomever it is you need to call and bring pictures to whomever you need to bring pictures to, and projects like this one. I mean, we really do need this help. I mean, you can donate money, you can donate food, you can donate clothing, you can help by contact. I think there's a group, even Habitat for Humanity is down there trying to build houses, trying to advise people on where to build houses as well. I think my hope is that out of this we learn that we need to move away from electrical power. I mean, everybody is now in an uproar with the electric company and so forth. I think we need to move away from that, period. I mean, I don't think it's a question of privatizing. I don't think it's a question of even the power company the way it is now. I think that what we need to do is to move away from electrical energy, fossil fuel energy. We can't do this anymore. I mean, again, we go through this every single year. You know, the hurricane season starts June 1st and it ends November 30th. And our peak season is August and September. We really, really need to just move away and prepare. I was telling my husband the other day, you know what, if it were for me, I would start a long-term project. There are short-term things that you can do, and then there are long-term things that you can do. The long-term project for me is to somehow get all these lines, if we're going to stick to this, underground. And start building, looking at ourselves in a different way and say, I think the bubble has burst. We are not as how do you say this, adelantado. We're not as
Advanced.
advanced as we think we are. I mean, it's a very weak infrastructure. Puerto Rico has no economy. Puerto Rico is bankrupt. I mean, and we really need to sit down and look at, because even with all this bankruptcy thing, we never really see it in our day-to-day. We have to start really looking at it and trying to figure out what it is we want for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, because this has been just it has been really, really hard to try and get back to normal after this.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would be like my grandmothers, washing by hand, and that you get so excited when you see a washboard. There are people selling a washboard on the side of the road. It's like, oh, Javier, please stop, I need to buy a washboard. And yeah, it's been just really, really hard trying to get back to where we were.
Well, thank you, Denise, for sharing your experience. I know you have a plane to catch.
Yes, I do. I'm going back home.
Thank you.
Bye.